Hi everyone, McBeard here, back finally with another video for you. I've been taking some time to do some deck testing in this new patch. We got 21 new cards, and we got some archetypes that, got some access. We saw Skellige Battle Maiden, and we also see the Slizzard for monsters. It really opens up a whole new world of deck building for these factions, and I think all the factions, especially with Scoia'tael's Res, still has a lot to explore. So the thing that I wanted to explore the most, I think, was actually Mandrake. So I started off yesterday with a great idea. The idea that I'm sure a lot of people had was, what if we buff up a Foglet to be the biggest Foglet you've ever seen? And we did try it, and it was fun, and, you know, it got countered a lot. Weather gets cleared, of course, Foglets can get stolen in the mirror. But the big thing that I kind of just realized when I started playing this is that, you know, if you're playing Fiends, Ghouls are, like, just better. There's less work involved for a big point play. Like, if you wanted to play Dagon and a 10-point Foglet, that 15-point play might as well just be Fiends and Ghouls, and you should be able to make a lot more than just the one big play. So while it was fun to run a giant Foglet and Ghouls to eat it if it didn't pan out, it just seemed better to run giant strength bodies like Fiend and Manticore. Now that Ghouls can eat Manticore as well, you can actually set up some really cool plays. So we kept Vesemir in the Mandrake to create 17-point Fiends for Ghouls late game, and it actually had some pretty cool results. I'll show you the deck. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Guys, I try to bring you the cool stuff, right? No meta decks here. We try to do some fun stuff, especially early in the season. When you're still climbing, you might as well have some fun. But let's talk about this deck. Monster Truck Monday, homebrew from yours truly, and I have a lot of fun with this deck. You're running your best relics, of course, in Caretaker and Woodland Spirit, and more Vud could be Flex Silver in this as well. I think that my most flexible silver in this lineup might be Alzur's Double Cross, but we'll start with the bronzes at the very least. So there's a couple things that are standard, stuff that you probably won't even really question. The fact that you're running Foglet with Dagon and Woodland Spirit, you wouldn't take the Foglet out if you're not trying a giant Foglet strategy, of course. The Foglet is still good, thins your deck, of course, comes along with every fog to make these cards much stronger as well. And then, of course, the Archgriffin for anti-weather tech, but also to steal your Foglet back. Kind of a relic of the old Foglet strategy, but is actually really good, especially in Skellige matchups. And Ekamara, of course, we are running Seleno Harpies, so there are eggs to eat. Ekamara also enables Slizzard by putting something in the graveyard. It also enables Ghoul by putting something in the graveyard. And it's also, you know, it's a tempo play with the eggs. It's carryover, which is very important. There's really a lot of great uses for Ekamara. It's not a 3-of because this isn't a total consume focused deck. We're not running Dora-Garay here, so we just want to be able to have 2 Ekamaras with the 2 Harpies as just, you know, solid bronze slots that can support this deck in that, you know, the Ekamara has a lot of interaction with the Harpies, and just generally carryover is pretty good. But then we get to the interesting stuff, and I'm talking about the Fiends and the Ghouls. So the Fiends, this is an easy card for me to explain as long as you have a relic in your hand, and that includes other Fiends. This is an 11-point bronze body. That's great, right? Because the Ghoul can just eat it up, and now that's a 15-point play. And that's as bad as a Ghoul will be, I think, as long as you're running Fiends. Sometimes you'll have an unprocced Fiend, it'll eat an 8 and it'll be a 12-point play. You'll take it for a bronze. You shouldn't have a hard time between the Griffin and, you know, a lot of these other cards. You're gonna at least, it's never gonna be a bricked card unless there was some weird super long round 3 and nothing actually happened at the beginning of the game. So the Ghouls are generally a-okay, and you're eating Fiends a lot of the time. On top of that, you can eat the Manticore now because Ghouls can eat silver cards in your own graveyard, and this is fantastic. Not just because this makes Ghoul a 17-point play, but it makes the Monster Nest Ghoul a 20-point play. So Monster Nest with the Ghoul attached is fantastic as a closer, and a lot of Monsters decks of old would save Crones for a closer. It was a little unreliable. You had to commit 3 silver slots to do this. Monster Nest doesn't really require you to build a deck that, like, you don't need to build around it that much. You need to run Manticore, I think. But the fact that you run Fiends and stuff like Mandrake gives you actually a lot of great options to make it even better. So I think that it also allows you to play Ghoul a little earlier as well, because Slizzard, this generates a Ghoul for Slizzard on top of that. Slizzard is great for sourcing Ghouls late game. Not so great for sourcing Fiends, because you don't want to devour the Fiends in the graveyard. The Slizzards are probably maybe even a one of, maybe even get away without running them. There is a little bit of counter synergy with how it destroys stuff in the graveyard, but I think it's worthwhile that it sources you Ghouls late and you have a lot of chances to draw them if you mulligan them away, and a lot of times you do want to mulligan them away. So that's kind of how the bronze setup works. So, and then there's one Mardrome here. It's kind of like it was originally just to help the Foglet even more in a matchup that this didn't work, but there's a lot of Sword Masters out there. There's a lot of buffing Scoia'tael, Farseers, Emperor Brigades. Mardrome usually will get you value. It doesn't seem so bad to run one right now, especially considering there's a lot of flex bronze in this deck, because the meat of the deck is really just these cards right here. This is how you can push in round 1 and close in round 3, and everything else kind of helps you support that. So the silver cards. Manticore, just a giant body for Ghouls to eat, for the Necarat / Katakan to eat as well. So, you know, it's also a 13-point play at worst. Like, you'll take it. It's a pretty strong play. It's good to lead off with if you have nothing better to do. Generally, you want to proc your Fiends and get them going, but the Manticore is pretty good, but it's even better when it's Toad food. Cycles your deck, gives you an 18-point silver play, and sets up the Monster Nest for the 20-point play later. So, you know, these three cards, Manticore, Toad, and Toad Prince, and Monster Nest, it's probably one of my favorite combos right now in Monsters. And then we get to the other interesting stuff. Of course, Necarat, just great for Consume list, very strong against Skellige. Also, there's a lot of great units to eat. You supply most of these units, but there's also some counter play to graveyard play as well. You can counter Barkley Elves being rezzed by Hattori. You can counter Stennis being rezzed by Shawnee if that's something that you fear. So there's a lot of great stuff for Necarat to do. Caretaker can also get these things done as well, robbing your opponent's graveyard. And the Archgriffin can actually put stuff in your opponent's graveyard so you can get extra reses on your big bodies in case what they have in their graveyard is just too weak for something like Caretaker. So, you know, those are good graveyard hate cards, and there's a fair amount of graveyard hating that is worthwhile. Skellige's out there right now. Skellige's still pretty strong, so keep that in mind. I also use double cross as a flex right now. I'm running it because it's really important to have the Manticore in the graveyard, so it's important to play it earlier. And it also thins, so it improves the quality of your draw. It gives you a 15-point play in Manticore. Like, all of these giant cards work well together. And then the last thing is Mandrake, and that's specifically for Vesemir. So Vesemir comes out, plays an alchemy card from your deck. That card is Mandrake. On a bad mulligan, you can get screwed with Vesemir and Mandrake in your hand, or Mandrake in your hand at all, potentially having you draw a dead Vesemir. But it's worth the risk, I think, because you can get some really cool stuff like a 17-point Fiend or a 19-point Manticore that your Ghoul can eat for a late play. And unless your opponent has some way of sabotaging your graveyard, you're good. And if your opponent does have a way of sabotaging your graveyard, then you just have to, you know, get to the restaurant first and eat early. And there are some matchups like that. You want to avoid that happening, especially in the mirror. Consume is strong right now, so in the mirror, this is an interesting matchup. Finally, the gold cards. Woodland Spirit, not much to say. Still a fantastic gold card. Applies the fog, gets the Foglet out. You know, it's just really good right now. Of course, Caretaker can source stuff from your opponent's graveyard. And Hand Marvin's Blue Dream, honestly, you can put any gold here if you like it. I was running this card for fun, and I felt like it was probably not going to be terrible in most matchups. It actually turned out to not ever be terrible. I always had a good target for it. So I think if you want to keep your games fresh and interesting while still giving you creative ways to win, you can run Blue Dream. It's a pretty fun card. And then Dagon applies weather, applies the Foglet. You know, it's a 9-point weather play, usually pretty strong. Dagon is not integral to this deck. I think that Aridin could also find a place here as just a value play with the Wild Hunt Warrior. It just is a big play. Applying the weather does often influence your opponent's ability to stick into a round, so there is that much. But this deck originally started off as a Drowner-based weather deck with Giant Foglet, and it has evolved since then. I kept Dagon as a leader. He's been very good to me. I think Aridin is also a viable choice. Check out this game I have with this deck. Had a lot of fun playing this one, and a lot of fun just choosing it and rewatching it. It's a fantastic game against Skellige. Check it out. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you soon. All right. A rematch against Skellige with Catachan in hand. Toad and Manticore. Looking good. And Savage Bear for all of you Savage Bear fans out there. Do I play Fiend and give him the best of Abjorn target? No, I don't think I do that. Don't think I do that. We haven't played the Vesemir 17-point Fiend yet. That hasn't occurred. We just play Dagon here? I think we do. See if he's running the Flaminica. Or do we play Woodland? I mean, it's really just wherever I want more points, right? So if I'm going second, I can afford to play Dagon. Play Woodland later. You guys can tell me. I think when I'm going second, I can, as long as I'm getting ahead, it's fine. It's actually interesting. You can't play Battle Maiden on the Berserker if it's transformed into a bear. Is that right? Somebody correct? I don't think like using Battle Maiden on a Savage Bear or sorry, a Raging Bear doesn't pull another Young Berserker. So I might just let this happen. Give me lots of tasty snacks on the graveyard for Catachan. Maybe he is running Vabjorn. Maybe this could be very lulzy. Which is funny because it would be a great Blue Dream target. There's Ermion, which is not a great Blue Dream target, IMO. Hopefully he plays more. The best target for Blue Dream is probably Coral, but Coral is a round 3 card, so it's like you'll never get it. Woodland, on the other hand, in a Monsters matchup would be really good. Damaging Raging Berserker is actually a valid strategy against Curse, but it loses? Yeah. Yeah. He's got a Warcrier in the graveyard now. I've got a 10-point damaged unit. Here's the... Okay, hold on. I don't have Caretaker. Can't make it. I can't... Oh, it would have been good. It would have been good. Caretaker would have been so good. Because I could have played Manticore from hand instead of playing Toad, and then I could have had 2 great targets for Warcrier. That's not what's happening here, though. I think I'm just going to go ahead and play the Toad Manticore combo here. See what we draw. Ekamara is fine. He'll probably use the Warcrier. Okay. Beat him in his own game here. Could play Vesemir Mandrake now into the Fiend.
Tomfoolery! Enough!
Just because I haven't done it in any of these games, I feel like maybe I'll just do it in this game. Uh-oh. Don't run it. Thanks. It's gonna res the Warcrier now. Still not.
Who's the courage to fight the Velkarls, eh?
Am I gonna play Woodland this turn or this round? I didn't think I was going to, but I might. See, Mardo doesn't work against these units because they're actually already at 19 points. So, like, whatever the buff occur, like the buff is still going to be worth. Like, I'll still be able to take out a lot of the Warcrier buff. But the Warcrier, I think I just eat the Warcrier now. I think I just eat the Warcry out of the graveyard now. I'm just pretty sure that's how he wins this round, like, decisively. So he would need to have another Warcrier in hand. But just the decision to put one in the graveyard, either he had to and he needed to discard one because only one was going to be useful.
You've got the heart, not grit. It's to fight the Velkarls, eh?
Yeah, that's a hell of a play. But I have a play that's pretty strong too. It's Monster Nest. I think I actually am going to go ahead and just push, right? Monster Nest, 20 points. I can establish carryover as well. I can hold Woodland. $25-point cards. Overcommitting when I have card advantage now. I think it's such a win condition to use Monster Nest here. I don't want to go down 2 cards. The carryover is so important. I'm gonna push. I'm gonna push. I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna run out of time. Oh, it's only one target anyway. I just want to believe that he was counting on a pass there and he didn't get it. I'm also putting him on no Warcrier in hand. Boy, Caretaker is something I need in my life. 9 points is much easier to deal with. Got it. I feel like he was going to show me Scorch if he had it. He didn't have it. He was going to show me a Warcrier, I think, if he had it. Didn't think he had it because of the way he put the Warcrier in the graveyard there. I think Mardra is not very good here. Caretaker would be amazing. Griffin is really good as well because I can move a Raging Bear right now. So do I push? What's my huge strategy here? I think I have to pass here, right? I pass here. Because I can influence his graveyard too much. It's too good. And I am hoping that I draw. Like, Ermion is not great, but Ermion can help me draw into Caretaker, so it's probably not. It's actually not the worst thing in the world. I'm gonna pass. Ever played a good Mardrome? Only one.
I can do a great.
Oh, and he's giving me Coral with Blue Dream. The Dream is alive right now. The Dream's alive, officially. Got a 17-point Fiend in the graveyard for a Ghoul. We have 3 Ghouls in the graveyard. Maybe we draw one. In the deck, sorry. Pretty high odds that we draw one. Slizzard doesn't get us. Wait, we have a Ghoul. Oh, because we played Monster Nest, Slizzard actually does get us the Ghoul. So here's a Ghoul. This is probably going to be a discard from Ermion. We're not playing Ermion anymore, are we? We could trade this for Mardrome and it would be bad, but everything else is better. Akamara's not better. Gonna take that chance? Well, it creates a Fiend. I can Akamara a Fiend, and then I have 2 Ghoul targets, but I only have 1 Ghoul, right? I only have 1 Ghoul. He's going down 2 cards against me. I've got Coral on the Blue Dream, plus Woodland Spirit. I don't have Caretaker, and that could be a problem. The Akamara just got much better, right? The Akamara just got very useful. So I'm going to steal the Raging Bear. I'm going to put the Raging Bear in my graveyard. I do want to play Woodland Spirit next if I can. Well, no, I want to play the Fiend, right? I want to get full value on the Fiend.
The goddess Yes, protect you from all evil.
Genja's going to be pretty good for him,
You're
but
coming with
it's
me.
coraled, right?
Dead or alive.
It's going to get coraled. Wouldn't you want to proc both of these? Or neither of them, I guess? I like my odds in this game, guys. I like my odds.
Bow before modern Freya.
DJ Thunder.
Who's the courage to fight the Velkarls, eh?
I think we're good, right? I think we're fantastic. I don't know how we could possibly lose this game. Even a Warcrier is only like, it's not enough, right? Between the 17-point Fiend that I'm eating with the Ghoul and the Coral that I'm going to get on the 18-point Genja Fret, I feel like that's enough, right?
We serve her who is virgin.
He doesn't even have like the greatest rest. I mean, this is pretty strong, right? So we're down by 41 points. Oh, we do lose, don't we? 41 points is a little bit more than I expected there to be. I think we do lose. I'm just not mathing it out. I'm not thinking about it too much here. No, we're good. We're fine. We won. 41 points, not too much. And then oh man, it's so sweet. It's so sweet.
I suppose in the end.
We still win. Sorry, I just I looked at it like I'm like 41 points. Like that combo can't be more than 41 points. It is. It's a lot more. It's 10 more actually with the fog ticking. We use Mandrake on the Fiend. We play Vesemir Mandrake in this deck to make extra big bodies for the ghouls. That worked out. That might be the video. That might be the video just because of my complete uncertainty, because we hadn't had a chance to actually play that combo yet. Also, the Blue Dream, mwah, it couldn't have been any better.